Hello, this is Joe Kelly. Today we're going to be interviewing John Richardson, and so I'm going to wait for John to come live, and then he's going to join our session, and we'll be able to talk about his breakthroughs and incredible transformation during his work resetting himself. So, John, I see you. I'm going to ask for you to join. Or you can ask yourself to. And I'm going to accept your request. Let's see if we can make the magic happen. I think you're here. Yay!
Yay!
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
You too.
Yeah.
You too. Good to be seen.
Yay! All right. So let's talk um, about you, about how you started acting. Let's start at the beginning.
Well, it's very interesting. Starting at the beginning, when I was young, I used to do some little skits in churches and different little things, but I was always afraid, right? Moving past all of that, I always had stage fright or writing about standing up in front of the class, all of those things. Um, but I started getting more involved in my culture, and it allowed me. It took me into an arena where I had to get up in front of young people and talk about cultural things, and that sort of diffused a lot of my fear, right? Because I felt like I was giving information. It wasn't about me. It was about the information. And I just so happened to be the one that have some of the information, right?
Yeah.
Not all. And that diffused the fear of that. And then so moving forward, I was in an advocacy program. And so with that, I started to work with the youth to help them to develop their advocacy message. And I devised 2 plays for the young people and help them with the mentorship of my boss. And that a lot of people saw what I was doing and said, hey, you really kind of got a thing for this. I don't know if, acting or directing or producing, but it's in that area, right? And so being creative, because I had a longing for a long period of time. I worked in the regular world, regular 9-to-5 job, but I always felt like something was missing, like my life was not being fully expressed, and lived. And so working with the young people, I started to take improv classes and acting classes. And the people there were like, hey, you might want to stick with it. I'm not saying one way or the other, but stick with it. And yeah, they were very encouraging. And so I got an agent, worked on a few projects in North Carolina when I lived in North Carolina, and then eventually moved to New York to further my career in film, television, and got more involved in theater. Before, I didn't really do theater other than those devised plays. So I had no technical training, no background in it, schooling, so to speak, other than my heart and willingness to dive in there and just give it whatever I could give it from my perspective, right? And so, yeah, and it's been now almost 15 years, and I've worked on some great pieces, knocking at the door of things that would be, mind blowing in a way, but I felt like I deserved to be there, right?
Yeah.
And that's so that led me to this journey. I mean, I've been in New York and I've traveled a few places and I've done a few plays in regional theater and off Broadway. I was on Broadway as a musician, traditional native singer. And, somebody looking from the outside, they'd be like, oh, wow, but I still myself personally felt like I have not given everything in every aspect of those projects, right, that I felt like I could give.
There was something that was holding back.
Yeah. Something holding back, and started to question my craft, my instrument. And I had to tell you why I'm looking over my shoulder right now is because Okay, so today, real quick, I know we're on time, but I have a home in Rocky Mountain in North Carolina, and I had a water main issue for the for my house. So I came to repair it, started to repair it. The problem escalated to where the city is now involved. So
Oh,
now I have, yeah. So now I have people in my yard out
oh yeah.
front, and so you may hear some. And I'm filthy. I'm muddy. I'm coming as real as I
You're
can
as
come. Right.
truthful as it gets.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's as raw as
Yeah.
it gets. And
Yeah.
if somewhere in the world, a producer, the director, the casting agent can see I can get raw, we can get raw. I mean, like, and I don't mind, right? Because
Great.
it's the world, it's life, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that's what kind of got me to started to. I mean, after 10 years, my agent, I had a few agents and managers that over time, because I wasn't booking, they let me go. And so, of course, naturally, the human mind wants to say, "Well, what's happening?" And I've had a couple casting directors,
Oh, your sound went off.
and I mean, sometimes 2 and 3 different roles on the same project, and I was just like, "Where is it in me that something's not showing up that they're
Yeah.
not catching?"
It's
Right?
blocked. Yeah.
It's blocked
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm
And
working.
is it?
I'm sorry. I was going to say I was in a production. I was in the off-Broadway production, and I was getting 2 and 3 calls a week.
Yeah.
And I'm like in the flow. I'm in the move, like the bodies, everything. There's no inhibitors. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay. So that really was what led me to say, hey, this reset course might be something of interest for me to look
To
into,
look at
because
what's blocking, what's in
what's
the way of you getting. And so how was it to reset
to
yourself to do this?
reset myself for one. I mean, some of the things, like some of the early on things that we went through, and it was like opening up a lot of stuff that I had looked at in my past, or things that had happened. Because it's all about, technically, it's all about me. It ain't really anything
No.
outside of me, right? It's all in here, inside here, right? And see, and interesting, I have a degree in psychology, not that I really use it, but when I see some of the terms and I look at some of the things that I've used again, and I may have told you this in one of the workshops, like, you know, um, when I'm talking to people doing classes, presenting in classrooms and stuff like that myself, I see the pureness of it, right? And they see it because I'm, again, embracing, and I'm walking in with my culture, with my ancestors, everything coming from the background, everything coming forward, full fledged, right? And I walk in such confidence that way. But then there may be another mechanism that I'm not paying attention to,
Yeah.
right? Not leaning into and looking at, and do that fear still exists that I had as a child? And so during the early part of the reset, I mean, some of the things that we did was very moving emotionally,
Yeah.
right? And because I've looked at some of the traumas in my life and some of the things that were brought on by my parents and by family members and community people that bullied me as a child, a young person, how that all impacted how I've gotten and arrived today with the coping mechanisms. I've always wanted to be liked. I had self-confidence or self issues with my physicality when I was younger. I was real chubby and heavy as a young kid, right? And so that brought a lot of teasing and stuff. And so, which, used to be embarrassed to take my shirt off, things like that. And interesting enough, I had a project that I did, like a short film where I was naked the whole time. And I was like, I was happy with that. Right. But that's a place that I've been able to get myself to, right, through work, right. My own mental work, and be able to be free in that, and I have no inhibitions or restrictions around that. Right. So, um, I know that looking at that, the reset program really started. The free writing was very powerful. Writing things down, getting my thoughts down on paper, looking at how, you know, we suppress a lot of things just to get by in our everyday life.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
then we suppress and then we replace with the coping mechanisms, like you just said. So if you would say, like, if I try to sum up what you mentioned about before the reset, you had a lot of opportunities, but felt something in you was blocking, was in the way. And then you do the reset, it's moving, it brings up a lot of your past. Um, and then when you finish the reset, what do you feel has transformed? What's the after effect?
Well, my first inclination, which is what I want to go with, because that's my instinctual answer to you, right? That's my that's my true self, usually speaking, right before it starts getting stuck in my head, and that is I feel sort of a energy peacefulness inside. Like, so if I can explain it, it's kind of like in here where you know, near your emotions, right inside your lower area. It's like I feel a little bit more whole, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
You know,
Peace
which,
and wholeness. They're
yeah,
very powerful words. Yes. Yeah.
right. So that wholeness, even though I'm a organic, constantly evolving, decaying human being, right, in this physical body, that part there feels very solid though. Now, feel
Yeah.
more solid than it did much more before
Amazing.
the program. Right.
Amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's incredible. And had you tried other approaches before to move through that block? Or is this the first time that you stumbled upon something and the reset was it?
Yeah. Well, there have been some work I've done in theater, as in, you know, different coaches maybe coming in
Yeah.
based on what role we may be, you know, what piece we might be working on or something like that, to kind of touch on some of those things, right? But nothing at all to the full extent that I was involved with the reset program. No.
That's incredible.
And nothing like that, because really, I mean, it I mean, really, yeah, what I do with the craft is whatever I'll do with the craft, but my life is the whole experience of life, right? It's going to carry that, right? Because I may not work when I'm 65, but
Yeah.
yet that my life will continue. And this part is like my life. It feels, I don't know, I never had a chance like I wanted to, like when we first started, right? I wanted to. We asked a few questions to different people that were on the Zoom program, and you said, you know, you asked them a few things, and it just was like, I just wanted to say, it's like almost like death to me. If it's not, um, that's how deep. I don't know. I'm trying to put it in some kind of context. Like it's like to do this to. It's like if I don't, it felt like I'm gonna kill what is inside of me forever. And if I don't, I got to get it and let it out and let the world have it, right?
Yeah,
Because that's how
it makes
far it is for me. That's how
yeah,
much it means.
I think you're totally onto to it, John, because I think that whatever prevents us from truly being here, um, basically is keeping your life away. So if your
Right.
life is not present in the moment, it is
Yeah.
death, right? If you're not alive, if you're not truly there, you're where are you? There's death. Yeah. So that's huge. Um, and I'm so glad that you stumbled upon the reset to bring you back to life,
Yeah.
basically, to your
Yeah. Thank
full
you.
authentic life and in your
Yeah.
art. That's huge. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. Because I've done a few, like you said, like, you know, just audition, like what's the 10 things you might do wrong in an audition, you know, little things like that,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
nothing, you know, and they were great. I'm not saying they didn't
Yeah.
give me some nuggets of things to work with,
Yeah.
right? But I felt like for me at this point, it was beyond that, right?
Yeah.
It was much
Yeah.
deeper.
Yeah,
And
it's not about learning something new.
right.
It's really about undoing what's in the way
Yeah.
of you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Is there anything that you feel you would like to add or share about the reset? Um, you know, for anyone who is looking at this work, doesn't really understand what this work is, because
Mhm.
it's not like your typical acting program at all. Quite the contrary.
Right.
Not an acting
Um,
class. So
yeah,
yeah.
I would just say, you know, for those that may be apprehensive or those that may be cautious in some way, that right there is telling you why you really should push forward. I know it could be something financially or whatever people might, whatever excuse people might say, well, I don't want to pay for it. But look, trust me, if you go through the 33 days, which, to unlearn things that we've been dealing with and trying to incorporate in our life in this world, that really the best thing to do is surrender to it. Don't try to make sense of the world.
Yeah.
But the same for anything that we're trying to do, right? That allow, you know, blindly, I say, like, not like a dumb person, but like just if you try to make sense of it, it's not going to work,
No.
right? It's not going to work, because then again, that's our mind trying to grasp it,
Yeah.
and manage and intellectualize our world, which then limits us.
Yeah.
Period. Right. That just builds blocks in general. So in doing, if, to anybody new, if you want to free yourself and feel totally as free as a human being you can within the limitations of your physical body, because that's where I've always said that we are spirits. We come
Yeah.
as spirits trying to have a human experience, right?
Absolutely.
And therefore, when we do that, we enter this body, we're limited because physicality is going to limit us, right? I can't fly across the street. If not, I won't. I mean, my body will, my spirit might continue after my body crashes to the ground and dies. But that's so to feel as full as we can, this program will help you get there, and it will enlighten you. It will pull on lights inside of you that you didn't know existed. It will pull back veils. I mean, that's my biggest encouragement, is to trust you. I mean, you're just giving the words and taking us through the steps. You didn't tell us it was about acting, really,
No.
because it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Mhm.
And I mean, I've been following various spiritual people like Sadhguru and different ones like that, who's worked with like Matthew McConaughey and different actors, and people have come to him like, what is it? I mean, if these guys are begging for knowledge from him on such a primitive level of existence, and just looking at it's something, and I knew something for me, and you happen to be the one. I love when your accent comes back, by the way. Yeah.
Uh,
What part of Australia are you from?
Not
Oh,
Australia, Belgium.
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 Okay. It sounds
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that we did cross paths. I'm so glad. I think your eloquence is really interesting. Your transformation, what you're talking about, from death to life is pretty much a big, huge transformation. So I'm so glad that I was able to look at that and to witness that, and
Yeah.
your eloquence with your education in psychology is really poignant.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. And then I'm also very grateful that even though your house is exploding, you're still here. You came
Yeah.
all raw. So
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Thank, thank you
Yeah.
so much, John.
No.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you for sharing with me, for opening up and just listening to me.
yeah,
And all of those that may have, been out there. I don't know if you've seen the videos or different things I've tried to share with people on the Facebook group.
yeah.
And I'm here. If anybody needs me, wants to reach out, or needs some help with something or whatever, or just want to talk, I'll hold space for them. I'm
Thank you.
glad. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and anyone who's interested to ask questions or to get some information about the reset, they can definitely write us in the comments, and we can send you.
Yes. Okay.
You can actually type free 100 and we'll send you some information.
Okay.
And John, thank you for your availability, for being open to people and connecting with people. That's really very kind of you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope
Yeah.
to see you soon.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Good luck with the house.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you. If not,
Bye.
we'll get muddy anyway. So,
Yeah. There you go.
hey, it's fun, right?
Yeah. All
All right.
right. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. No bye.
No.
See you later.
See you
See
later.
you later. Yes, that's right. Until we meet again
Bye.
on a great Waikiki. That's right.
Bye.